There she is.
Okay. All right. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the date, the time, and public call information were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.us. A public comment period will be held in the order is listed on the meeting agenda. When the mayor opens the public comment portion, if you're calling in through the computer and would like to add public comment, please raise your hand. To raise your hand, click on the participants button on the bar located at the bottom of your screen. Once the bar pops up, scroll to the right, and there will be an option to quote, raise hand. If you're calling in, we will give each caller a chance to speak. The administrator will announce the last 4 digits of the phone number and unmute the caller. I believe at this point in time, there are no call-ins.
There's one. There's one.
Okay, all right. So you will give them their option to speak during the public hearing for each one of the ordinances and then the public comment as well. Okay, Nancy?
Yep.
Okay. And again, if you would like to comment when the mayor opens up the public comment on an ordinance, please raise your hand as well. Mayor, if you'd like to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Megan. With that, I'll call the April 8th, 2020 meeting of the Long Hill Township Committee to order. If everyone could join me and face a flag, and we'll
Megan has one.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Megan has one.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, exactly. We can all face Megan. So if we could stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Megan, if you'd like to call the roll.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Schuler will not be participating. Committeeman Verleza?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia? Nancy, can you unmute Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Okay, there we go. Present.
Mayor Ray?
Present. Thank you. So we'll move along with the ordinances. The first is Capital Ordinance 453-20, and this is the second reading and adoption. It's providing for planning and design of trail system on block 11301, lots 1, 2, 3 in the township of Long Hill in the county of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $18,000 therefore from the Municipal Open Space, Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund of the township. So any comments, first of all, from the members of the Township Committee? If none, I'll open the discussion to the public. If you'd like to raise your hand, if you'd like to speak. Nancy, do you see anyone?
So nobody's raised their hand and there's somebody on the phone. The last 4 digits are 8629. So if you'd like to speak, I'll unmute you. If you have a comment, you could speak now. Not hear anything, so I'm gonna remute that person.
Okay, so with that, I will entertain a motion to move Capital Ordinance 453-20 for adoption as stated in the agenda.
Move to second.
So did you move it, Vic? Do I have a
Yes.
second? Do I have a second?
Nancy, I believe you have to
Yes.
unmute Matt
So Matt, if you mute yourself, I have to unmute you every time.
and Guy as well.
Yeah,
Oh, all right.
If you guys mute yourselves, then I don't even realize it and I have to unmute you. So
All right, then I'll second it.
So I believe the motion was made by Vic.
Yep.
Second
I
by
second.
Matt.
Correct.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza. Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy
Yes.
Mayor Patricia?
Yes.
Mayor Ray?
Yes. So moving on to ordinance 454-20, again, second reading and adoption, designating a handicap parking space in front of the United States Post Office located at 1936 Long Hill Road in Millington. So are there any comments from the members of the Township Committee?
You know what? I've driven by there. I reviewed the situation, and I totally understand why they're looking to get that handicap parking there.
Thank you, Vic. So if there are no more comments from the Township Committee, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody who would like to make a comment, please raise their hand. Do you see anybody,
Nope.
Nancy?
There's nobody. And the person whose phone number ends in 8629, I'm going to unmute you if you have a question or comment. Okay, I don't hear anything.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to move ordinance 454-20, second reading and adoption, as stated in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Patricia?
Yes.
Mayor Ray?
Yes. So moving on to ordinance 455-20, again, second reading and adoption. And this is amending various sections of the Long Hill Township Land Use Ordinance. So any comments from the members of the Township Committee? If not, then I'll open the public hearing. So if you'd like to make a comment, please raise your hand.
Nope.
Not Nancy, Nicole.
Nope, just the person on the phone, 8629. If you have a comment or a question. Nope.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adopt
Oh,
ordinance.
wait. There is a question from Gary Pratt.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you. I read through the ordinance, and the problem is that there's all references to all kinds of different blocks and lots and zones and all that, and I was unable to find anything that referred to where those locations were.
Jack.
Well, you'd have to refer to the tax maps in order to find those. That ordinance was prepared by Dennis Sandow and Yolanta and the Ordinance Review Committee. My understanding, it didn't really make any substantive changes. It was really just a housekeeping cleanup kind of ordinance.
Yeah, Gary, that's exactly it. It was the ordinance subcommittee of the planning board worked on this towards the end of last year, and as Jack said, it really was just a housekeeping.
Pick up and chase FaceTime.
Stop.
You care?
Stop. Okay. The reason that I do remember those discussions. The only concern I had was whether all of a sudden, there was going to, that I was involved in the stuff, here in my neighborhood. I was just concerned that, all of a sudden, some area was going to be zoned for something that, folks may not have expected. But I do remember the discussions explaining that. So if it's just that cleanup, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mr. Pratt,
Gary.
Mr. Pratt, if we were rezoning any properties, all the affected property owners would have to get notice before the ordinance could be adopted. So that's clearly not the case here.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Gary. So if there aren't any other comments,
Wait, somebody named Mark Phillips raised his hand. Okay, so Mr. Pratt, are you finished with your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so Mayor, there's a Mark Phillips.
okay,
Chris Arnold is looking like he's trying to raise his hand. He's clapping.
Okay, well, right now, Mark Phillips is next.
Okay.
Mr. Phillips, you've been unmuted. Mark Phillips?
How are you guys doing today?
Do you have a question for the committee on this ordinance?
Oh no, I was just wondering like how your day's been going. Cause you know, like
I'm removing him because I have a feeling what he was going to say was not what we wanted to hear.
I'm sensing it myself. A lot of time on their hands, don't they?
Who is that other guy, Megan?
It looks like they are no longer in here.
He
Yeah.
left,
Looks like
right?
everyone left is legit.
He left.
all right, well done, Nancy.
This is exhausting.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have a question about this ordinance?
Okay, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 455-20 as stated
So
in the
moved.
agenda. Do I have a second?
Committeeman Dorsey,
yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Ray.
Yes. Moving on to ordinance 456-20, second reading and adoption, moving construction site regulations from the Township Land Use Ordinance to the General Ordinances section of the Township Code. If there are there any questions or comments from the committee? If not, I'll open up the public hearing. If you'd like to, if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand.
No,
No?
nobody.
Okay.
All right, I just have that one person on the phone whose phone number ends in 8629. If you have a question, you're unmuted. No, okay.
Okay, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 456-20 as stated in the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Ray.
Yes. So moving on to ordinance 457-20, again, second reading and adoption, banning certain sump pump and other water discharges into township streets and supplementing and amending chapter 3 of the Township Code entitled Police Regulations. Any questions or comments from the committee? If not, I will open up the public hearing.
There's nothing. I'll unmute 8629. If you have any comment. Nope.
Okay, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 457-20 as stated in the agenda.
So moved.
Do you have a second? Okay.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Ray.
Yes. So moving on now to the consent agenda resolutions. These are resolutions 20-130 to 20-135. Would anybody like to pull a resolution to discuss further? If not, I will entertain a motion to adopt 20-130 to 20-135 as stated in the agenda.
So moved. I'll second it.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza,
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Ray.
Yes. Moving on now to the liaison reports. Matt?
Wait, come back to me because I got to pull it up. You don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vic, any?
Yes, as far as rec is concerned, although we haven't met, I can see that Lisa Scanlon is working very hard to make sure that the residents of Long Hill Township remain safe at our parks. I can see that the playground sets are taped off, and we would certainly ask that people do not continue to break through the caution tape and use the playgrounds. It is potentially dangerous. Please maintain your social distancing while at Cantor Field and at Hicks Tract. That would conclude rec. Then we have, you going, Matt, or?
No, go whoever's next then.
Okay, so I have rec, and then I have, the Vision Committee. We haven't met, but it's inspiring to see that we're moving forward with, money aside, so we could get the study going for the trails. And hopefully we'll hear from the township engineer soon, and he'll have better news for us than he had at our last meeting. And that's all I have for my liaison reports.
Very good. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you.
Guy, do you have any report?
I'll be quick, and Brendan, write down the date. Nancy, could you mute? I think that was Matt. And Brendan, write down the date and the time. I want to commend the mayor, who, because of him and because of his guidance through the COVID-19 challenge that we have, Long Hill Township was perhaps the first town, certainly the first town that I know of, that became proactively involved in terms of the task force, in terms of the UV machines or whatever they're called that we ordered. So I think it should be noted that the mayor has led the township from the start. And so at least personally, I say thank you. And Brendan, don't expect me to say something so kind again.
No, I'm in shock, Guy, but thank you.
Now, and I think, Brendan, you will speak to the police, and Matt, you will speak, I think, to OEM.
Correct.
So I just want to say an incredible thank you is due the first aid squad through the challenge that is going on. As usual, they are behind the scenes. No one really sees them until they need them. And they have attended to many, many calls over the last several weeks. And as little as it is, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the entire township to every member of the squad. They're doing a phenomenal job. And so thank you. And that's it.
Thanks very much, Guy. So, Matt.
Yes. All right. You ready?
I'm ready. We're ready.
The DPW is finished up with their spring cleanings. They are doing the basins now and cutting grass. And most importantly, the mulch, I think in the first week, they had $2,200 in mulch orders already. It's good that people are home and doing things. So if you want a delivery of mulch, call the DPW. They deliver on Mondays and Fridays. The cost is $100 for delivery. However, if you want to come get it yourself, come down. As long as you're a resident, you can come down and take as much of it as you want. As to OEM, as you know, they've been very busy. The mayor will speak more on some of their activities or overlapping activities. But Shane Daly wanted me to thank the local medical professionals, our nurses, doctors, who've been basically killing it. No, that's a bad choice of words. They've been over at the hospitals, working hard and working extended shifts and putting themselves and their families at risk. And the Medical Reserve Corps has been activated. So our local participants in that have been a big help supporting the local public health hotline. CERT, as you can imagine, very active in the community, manning the hotline and doing other things. And if you need to get a coronavirus test, they're doing it for the county at County College of Morris. There's a couple caveats, though. They do it 9 to 5 daily. It has to be by appointment, and you need a prescription from a doctor. You can go on the town website under, Brenda, there's a COVID-19 page.
Yep, that's
Okay.
right.
And on the COVID-19 section, that's where they have the link on how to register and make an appointment. So that's it, and keep up the great work. I know they're working very busy over there, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt.
You're welcome, sir.
Pardon me, Mayor?
Yes.
If I'm not certain if this is the appropriate time to chime in, but if it's not, then please just let me know. But regarding the DPW, I was there today. The conditions are just far from optimum, and I was wondering when we were going to have our budget meeting so that hopefully we can move forward with the paving of the DPW and other projects that need to be completed down there. I know that Al has held off OSHA for another month, regarding some issues we have down there. And I just think it's something that we need to move on sooner than later. How can we expedite this process?
Yep, thanks, Vic. Actually, Cornell's not here, and he usually gives a kind of a report on the finance committee. But perhaps Guy, if you could speak to the progress that and the plans for the finance committee and the budget.
I would say we have not met since the first time we met, and we're not any closer to addressing that issue. So it's going to have to wait until the budget is passed. I think most of us have seen that the state has now pushed off its own budget to September 30th, I believe. So I don't know what's going to happen regarding municipal budgets statewide. But the deadline's already been extended 1 month, Nancy, right?
Correct. It has to be I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I was going to say, and it would not shock me if that becomes a movable target. We'll see.
Right.
Okay.
We're supposed to introduce by April 30th and adopt by May 30th. Randy did put together a suggested budget, so I will send that tomorrow to the 2 members of the Finance Committee, and we'll see where we go from there.
Thank you, Nancy.
Would these extenuating circumstances allow us to hold off OSHA for the time being?
I have to tell you, I'm shocked that they are being as stringent as they are considering the circumstances. So I'll touch base with Al. Maybe we can talk to somebody about this tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Vic, for reminding me about the liaison report for the financial committee, for the finance committee. So I'll move on with a quick update on the police. I mean, first of all, just echoing Guy's comments on the first aid squad. The police and first aid squad are really out there on the front lines every day, and we can't thank them enough for everything that they do. In terms of the actual activity, there have been no increase in the arrests or school activity, obviously, for this month. The call volume is currently at 4,733 for the year, and the police department would like to make a special request for residents to pay special attention to the scams that are currently being perpetrated around the COVID-19 pandemic. And so please look on the PD Facebook, as well as the public service announcements that are put out by the chief. So that's it for police. I'll give a very quick update on the COVID-19 task force. Again, things are moving very well. We are keeping to our weekly meeting schedule. The township is doing very well in terms of supplies of PPE. So far we are up to full strength on for fire department, police, and squad. So long may that continue. One of the things that's kind of very dear to my heart is I've talked about the reach out to our senior population and other groups who are particularly vulnerable here with infection from COVID-19. The township employees have done an absolutely excellent job in in identifying, first of all, and then calling the seniors to determine if they need any help in terms of shopping or things like medication pickup. I believe, Nancy, it was 200 calls last week, and probably the same number this week as they move through the list that we have in town hall, which is about 700 or so.
Yeah.
Seniors.
Yeah, it's a little over 700.
Yeah, so it's a special thanks to the township employees who, in addition to doing all the other work that they're doing, they volunteered to make those calls. And of course, once the calls are made and needs are identified, it then shifts over to the work of OEM and to hook up the needs with the volunteer groups that we have in the township that have sprung up. And again, my thanks goes out to everybody who is doing their bit in volunteering. It's not surprising for Long Hill, but gratifying nevertheless to see. And so we will, over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to be rolling out some initiatives really to help with the kind of psychological well-being, I'll call it, of our residents as the time course of this pandemic progresses. And so very excited about those, and we should be able to roll things out, and as I say, within the next few weeks. So in my final comment here is just we have 26 positive cases, I believe, in the township so far. So the numbers are going up, but it's expected. But I would ask that any resident who is in need of any assistance that would maintain them, that would keep them in their house and maintain them there, please call the community hotline 908-647-8000 extension 995 and tell us what you need, and we will do our best to make sure that you are able to stay in your home during the period of quarantine. And so that's it for the update on COVID-19. So Nancy, for the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First to Committeeman Prosertia, I think if you just at the bottom left of your screen, if you hit start video, you'll come back. Hopefully that works. He said
Nah, something went wrong because I'm already on stop. So I hit it. I'll just wait till after your report and I'll sign back in.
Okay, first, Mayor, I apologize, to everyone. I read about all the Zoom bombing, and I thought that I thought Zoom put extra security in. Actually, this morning they said, and I updated the account, and I didn't think that was going to happen. So I apologize. I have since found a way where I could be the only one to share my screen and turn off chat. but obviously about an hour too late. So I did get a text while we were meeting from one of the members of the communications committee who said that maybe for the next meeting, assuming that we'll still be meeting like this, that only the township committee and Megan and Jack and I come in through Zoom, and everybody else would have to watch on the YouTube channel that now that we have that working. So that's one way to avoid this.
Right.
Because then we don't release the, the meeting information. So as far as my report, the traffic signal at Mountain and Valley is almost complete. The repaving was done, but the county still needs to test the equipment and restore the sidewalk, and they hope to be done by this Friday. When it does go live, we'll keep track of the timing of the light as far as traffic goes, because right now traffic is so light, but when traffic gets back to normal, we'll let them know if there are any issues and they can modify the timing of the light. This Saturday, DPW will be open for building material drop-off. It's this Saturday and every Saturday from the hours of 8 to 12, 8 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon, but we're changing the process due to the virus situation. We're changing the process. We will only be accepting checks, no cash for the time being. And what will happen is when people pull up, there will be when you pull up to the DPW yard, there will be a box, and residents should leave their driver's license and their check in the box. The checks will be posted at the DPW yard, and we'll put this all on our website in case people are interested. So you leave your check and your license in the box, and the DPW worker will go over after you've pulled away, make sure that you're living in town, and then open the gate to let you go through. When you go through, there are signs to tell you where to drop off your building materials. And then when you're leaving, when you pull back out, you stop the box and get your license and your receipt. And if you have questions, there will be DPW workers there, but we ask again for the safety of both our workers and for the residents that you maintain the proper distance. And I just want to remind the residents again that there will be no bulk pickup for this month. And, obviously that's going to be revisited as this progresses. That's all.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks. And actually, the mention of the Communications Advisory Committee, I have to give a special thanks to Guy Rosto, former committee man, Guy Rosto, for all the work that he's done to enable the meeting to be streamed on YouTube. So thanks to Guy. With that, we'll move on to discussions. The first is the parking permit refund. And Nancy, if you'd like to elaborate on this.
Well, since people are not allowed to go to.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Megan?
Sorry, my computer froze. Do you want me to speak on that, Nancy, or do you want
Sure,
to?
you got the email, so you might as well.
Yeah, I received an email. I believe it was in the beginning of this week. There was a woman that called looking for a refund for the next few months on her Millington parking pass due to the fact that she will not be using it due to COVID-19. Since this is a policy decision, we decided to bring it to you guys to decide on what you wanted to do with that.
Okay, so this would be on a monthly basis. Is that the
Yes,
idea that we would?
She requested that her March, June, and probably July refunded because she won't be using it until further notice. I did the math, and she bought a $240 Millington parking pass, so it's about a $20 a month refund. But if you're going to do this for them, for this person,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be doing it for everyone.
Right. So, Matt, I don't know, any thoughts?
Well, my only question, I have to know, what do they give you when you park there? Do you get a sticker that you put in your car? How does it work?
It's a parking hang tag.
A hang tag? I mean, in reality, I don't think this person's doing this, but in reality, we could refund them. They could still use the services if they wanted to. Do we have anything from her job or something saying that they're not coming in?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is there any documentation from her job saying stay at home?
She didn't provide that, her job said that she can't come in or anything like that. She just said that she was looking for a refund.
Look, if they get something from their job and we did it, I guess, maybe retroactively saying, hey, Megan didn't come. We told Megan to stay home from this day to this day. The office is closed. That's a different story. But I agree that people, if they're not using it, maybe should be eligible for a refund. But I'm just not. Then anybody's going to come in and say, hey, I'm not using it when they might be, and I don't know.
I think
I don't want to go down a slippery slope.
I think it requires further thought, especially since the services for the trains are still running. But I can understand somebody wanting a refund. However, the last time I checked, the trains were still running. The parking lots are available. If somebody was sick for, God forbid, a month, would they get a refund under that situation? I don't know. I don't think it's an easy decision. I think we need to discuss it.
Well, I agree with Vic, but I would go one step further. The lots are still available. The trains are still running. I would not be supportive of a refund.
Well, I mean, I agree. If somebody's sick for a month, okay, we wouldn't be necessarily given given a refund. But again, it's an unprecedented time, as somewhat of an understatement. And people really have been furloughed. Everybody seems to be working at home in New York, New Jersey, because unless they're essential employees. And so I do believe that there are and associated with this, there's definitely financial hardship as well. And so I tend to be of a different opinion that I'm willing to look at a refund on a monthly basis during the period of the emergency as it exists in New Jersey and.
But when did it start?
In New York,
Mr. Mayor. Okay, when's the date that it started? Different companies furloughed workers, or they asked workers to come in or not come in at different stages. And if we're going to do it, then it's got to be for everybody. It's a policy decision. Everybody gets the refund.
Yep. Yeah. No, this for me, Guy. Yeah, it's a policy decision, and you bring up a good point. Where do we start it from? I mean, maybe in New Jersey we start it from the date of the governor's executive order, where he basically. Well, I mean, the one I believe that kind of started, one of the ones that started it all off, where he said that anything but essential businesses should be closing down.
If that's the case, then we picked the date based on something. New York was later than New Jersey, of course, and that's where the trains go. But start the date and then issue a refund to every monthly holder, not just those that ask for it.
Well, I'd still like to see proof that. I mean, look, if I want to cancel my gym membership or put it on hold for a month, they would ask me for some. Say I hurt myself, they'd probably do it if I had a doctor's note or something. Here, I'd just like to see something from the employer saying, "Hey, employees as of March 15th to stay home." It's not a lot I ask for.
What if they're still getting paid?
Oh, no, they could stay home. Those are not using the lot. I don't care if they're still. I hope they're still getting paid.
No, but if they're still getting paid, there's really no financial hardship. Why would we? The trains are still open. Why would we refund the $20? It's going to add up for the township.
It is, but they're not going to be using the lot, though. They're not using it, and they can prove they're not using it. I'm okay with it, but I just want some proof.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the permits, and basically it tells, if when you buy a permit, it says that it's non-refundable. So I don't know whether that makes any difference to anybody's thoughts here. So you buy it, you know, under normal circumstances, you buy it and you don't expect a refund. As I say, this is you know, unprecedented times, and maybe we do something here. You know, I like Matt's idea that there should be, if we were to do it, we would want some kind of proof from the employer that indeed it wasn't being, you know, the person wasn't going into work.
And I would like to do it retroactively. So for example, like if they want it for March, they have to come the following month because they didn't use it in March. I'm not going to give somebody a thing until July.
Yep.
Who knows? They might open up business June 15th and then they're good to go.
Yeah, it would be retroactive, absolutely, if we were to do it. And you know, I mean, okay, you buy it knowing that it's non-refundable. But as I say, you know, nobody expects a pandemic. So, you know, I'm certainly sensitive to that. So, Guy, are you in favour, or how are you?
Well, I'm sensitive also, but
Vic, I can't hear you.
I'm sensitive also, but during this time, are we still maintaining the lots and, you know, incurring the same expenses that we would normally incur as a township?
No, I mean that's a point. I mean, we will. I don't know what the maintenance costs are, but in general, but whatever we'd normally do, we're still doing. Guy,
Look, I think, to use Matt's phrase, slippery slope, there are so many monthly or yearly, you pay for monthly train ticket, weekly path rides, or, I mean, I don't see how this is unprecedented, yes. And I don't know that I would be supportive of it. I don't see it, but I get it. It's not fair.
right?
But the trains are running. If the trains weren't running, that would be a different situation.
Okay, I mean, I think we're pretty evenly split here, and I can imagine what Committeeman Schuler would say if he was here. So I think the guidance from us, because if it's 2-2, things don't pass. So I think we're probably the decision here is that we're not that we're not looking to provide a refund for the time that it's not moved. I mean, Jack,
It doesn't come from,
Yeah, that's right. You need three of you to pass it,
yeah,
or to adopt that policy.
You know, and anyway, Mr. Mayor, to Matt's point, if it's the same situation, if this were July, I would say, yeah, you know what, I probably would support it. We don't have any idea when the new normal will start. If the new normal starts in 2 or 3 weeks, so I mean, for a month, it just doesn't seem appropriate.
no,
If we're still talking about this in July, yeah, okay, I could say it.
okay. No, I mean, Guy, it was one of those things where it was going to be retroactive. You know, it was going to be,
Right.
you know, right. So, but I get your point and Vic's point here. They're definitely valid, and I think we can move forward, and maybe we revisit it. Maybe
Revisit
not,
it. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. So
I think we should revisit it also.
okay, very good. Thank you. So Nancy, you have and Megan, you have the guidance on that.
Yes.
Mayor, can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
I have to ask if any of you know someone named Charlie, Hahne. He's been waiting in the waiting room, and I'm afraid to let anybody in right now. So I'm just wondering, is that
Could
a
you-
new
You know
resident?
what? could you respell his name, please?
H-A-H-N-E.
H-A-H-N-E.
H-N-E.
Yes. Hold on a second.
Is there any way you can make people list their address before you let them in?
I have no way of talking to them.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was just curious.
H-A-H-N-E, right?
Yep.
I don't find him, but the name sounds so familiar.
It does sound familiar.
Most of the party crashes, their names sounded made up.
Yeah.
I give it a shot. You only live once, Nancy.
Okay, there's also,
We may regret it.
yeah, well, I turned off screen sharing. There's also Jackson, W-I-T-T-E.
I don't know about that one. Jackson White.
W-I-T-T-E.
See-
So I let Charlie in. We'll see what happens. I think I turned off chat too.
Yeah.
Nope, Charlie's a kid. Charlie's leaving.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Andrea Garcia. Anyone?
You know what? Let's, Mr. Mayor, I think we move on.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So, so Nancy, the next item is the essential travel policy.
This was something that came up at the last task force meeting. This is in regard to parades that people are having, or they're requesting through our emergency services for their kids' birthdays. And most recently, there have been requests for the fire department to bring the Easter Bunny around. And the topic came up because the police chief brought it up at the task force meeting that this is considered non-essential travel. And I will just tell you that from the Municipal Managers Association website that I belong to, that the overwhelming majority of administrators, other towns have banned those because they are considered non-essential travel. So when it came up at the task force meeting, the Jack determined that it's a policy decision for all of you to discuss. So this is for things like birthday party parades with fire trucks and police trucks, and for Easter to bring the Easter Bunny around.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. And just, I mean, I don't know if everybody saw it, but Chief Naga issued a public service announcement today, basically saying that police or police department would not be getting involved in any of these types of activities as far as birthdays or Easter celebrations. And so the position of Chief Naga and PD is fairly well established at this point. I mean, for us, it goes on to, as Nancy stated, it's what do we want to do, especially with our fire companies. Do we want them to engage in these kinds of activities with birthday parties, or on Sunday? There's certainly been some excitement, shall we say, over the Easter Bunny appearing and giving out candy, and so there will be, as I say, with the excitement that seems to be going on around that, we can expect there to be cars on the road more than usual, and there's always the potential for parents wanting their children to be photographed with the Easter Bunny, and how do we deal with that? So the question is, what do we want to do as a town? Do we want to allow this, or do we want to say that's not something that we're willing to encourage?
Well, I'll speak first, Mr. Mayor. I think times are rough enough. I think the members of the fire department, if they are willing to do it and want to do it, they're not going to interact with the public. At some point, I think this is a nice gesture, and I would support it if the companies wanted to do it.
Okay, thanks, Guy.
No pictures with the Easter Bunny. He's got to be in a plastic enclosed case like the Pope.
So, Vic, any?
Yes. I believe if there's a way that we could plan accordingly, maybe have some cones out on the street so the traffic flow is in an orderly fashion. Maybe if we have a sign out that says no pictures with the Easter Bunny. I just think that it would be just so awesome for the children in Long Hill Township to be able to see the Easter Bunny after being locked in, for so many weeks. I think it would be great for morale, great for families. If we can do it without causing a threat to the public health and the fire department is willing to do so, I think it's a good thing. Now, if for some reason it's proven to be a risk to public health, well, then I would change my mind. But assuming that it's not, and we could plan accordingly to make it safe and orderly, I would be for it.
Okay, thanks, Vic. Matt?
My position is I don't think the truck should be out doing this, because then people are going to yell, he didn't come down my street, what time you doing it, this and that. If the fire department or either one of them wants to do it, that's fine. However, I would think it have to be strict. For example, it would have to be one Easter Bunny. It couldn't be more than one. I mean, one person being the Easter Bunny is what I'm saying. You can't switch out the suit or anything like that. And as Victor said, say the Easter Bunny was sitting outside the fire department or firehouse, fine. But nobody gets out. The Easter Bunny doesn't come under your car. There's no candy exchange. If you want to drive by and see the Easter Bunny, fine. But that's all it's going to be. It's just got to be very strict. And yeah, if the Easter Bunny wants to wave and you want your kids to wave, that's fine. But it really can't be more than that at this point. And I'm sorry, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay. So I think as far as the Easter Bunny is concerned, we're all, there's a consensus that the Easter Bunny's okay. For, if we take it one step further, where I know there's been requests for the fire companies to go to birthday parties. Is that something that we're willing to contemplate?
I would vote no on that. I mean,
right.
They have enough responsibility in town, and with the sanitary conditions and different people getting in and out of the trucks, and the trucks having to be disinfected, it doesn't. It's, to me, as my friend said at work, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Vic?
I would tend to agree with Matt on that one. As nice as a gesture as it would be, I'm wondering, is there a vehicle that's less essential, like the fire chief's truck, that you could tell it belongs to the fire department? A child may get excited to see it and get a wave by his house without causing too much of a disruption, in essential fire services. That might be something we consider, but having fire trucks go, as great as that would be, I think it might be not a good idea for many reasons.
Okay, thanks, Vic. Guy?
Well, but Brendan, I remember when a fire truck pulled up outside my house, how excited I got. You remember that?
Oh, I remember.
I think the governor has done a very good job, very strict job in announcing closures and executive orders. I have not seen one on this issue, and it's pretty well known throughout the state that emergency service vehicles are doing this. If they wanted to stop it, I would have thought they would have by now. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so I mean, I think what we're saying, again, we're kind of 2-2. I think, because I'm with Matt in this. PD, we know the chief has made his position clear. They will not be involved. I guess what we're saying to, with the discussion that we've had is that it's really up to our fire companies what they decide to do, and that's as a township committee, we're not going to, or there's not a majority of us that are going to prevent it. Yep, Vic.
Might I ask, is it possible to utilize the antique fire truck in a safe manner where only maybe 1 or 2 firemen would be able to use it for sanitary reasons and risk spreading the virus? But that would be exciting. We wouldn't be using an essential vehicle. Just an idea.
Yeah, Vic, it's not necessarily the vehicle itself. It's probably less safe, certainly just from the Millington Antiques, if we were to use them. But it's more just the fact that our volunteers are being exposed potentially to they're going to the firehouse, they're getting in to vehicles whenever it's unnecessary, right? And there's the potential of those of contamination or exposure as a result of somebody else getting in there, because nobody really knows our COVID-19 status if we're not showing any symptoms. And so that really is the point. Is that something that we want our volunteers, as good as they may very well have the best of intentions and want to do these things, but there's a definite risk here, and as a township, even though they're willing to do it, are we going to allow it? The way I look at it is the governor has really made it very clear here that we should be as far as non-essential travel, we shouldn't be involved in that. We should be staying put as much as possible, and so are we kind of in that 100%, or are we somewhat less by saying to our volunteers, yeah, if you want to do something, whenever it's a non-emergency situation, you can, and there's a potential cost associated with that. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, if it was up to me, I'm with Matt. I would just it would be a blanket no.
Mayor.
Yep.
People raising their hand. If you could just mention that this is, or I'll mention it, this is just like a regular meeting, and the time for public comment is at the end. So there's no public input here.
Yep, yep.
You know what? After listening to your comments, Mayor, and as difficult as it is a decision, because I just think it's so exciting for people that would be celebrating a birthday and have that service, have a fire truck come by. My daughter's birthday is on Sunday. My wife's on Friday. I'd love to see those fire trucks. In this situation, you know better than I do. You're much more familiar with the fire department. You're much more involved. And I'm going to go with you here. Unfortunately, I don't think the risk is worth the reward, and I'm going to have to say no.
Okay, so I think thanks Vic, thank you for that. So I think with that we can wrap this up. As far as the essential travel policy, I think we're as far as we know where PD is, and we should probably the fire companies should adopt the same policy as PD. And there's no, I mean, so far the squad hasn't been doing this, or haven't been asked to go by in ambulances, and so I think in general for the township we should there's a blanket prohibition.
This decision is separate from the Easter Bunny on Sunday, though, correct?
Yeah, except for the Easter Bunny's in. Yeah, the Easter Bunny, he get in under the wire.
Okay, awesome.
So okay, we'll move on to old business. Any old business? If not, some new business.
Mayor, I had one thing.
Yep.
The one of the members of the Communication Advisory Committee texted me and mentioned that these Zoom bombings, as he called them, are a violation of the federal wiretapping law. So maybe this is something we could ask the chief to look into, because I imagine that maybe we can trace these people through their names.
Okay, I mean that's certainly we can talk to Chief Naga about that. That's certainly how I don't know how difficult it is to trace them, but that would certainly be something that we could action that we could take.
Okay, I just thought I'd mention that for the people who are listening on YouTube and the people who are still trying to get into the meeting, that it's possibly a federal offense what they're doing.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. The things that came across the bottom of my screen were totally unacceptable.
Right, and the fact is that this meeting is being recorded and will be replayed on YouTube numerous times.
Yep.
Agreed.
Okay. I mean, not to prolong this whole, I should probably bring it up. The governor yesterday, under new business, the governor yesterday closed all state and county parks. I know on one of the phone calls that you and I were on, Nancy, with the mayors and administrators from other towns, this was really a hot topic. I think we so far haven't closed our local parks to passive recreation. We have closed them to the playgrounds in there. And just a quick discussion on thoughts of is this something that we want to do? Would we consider closing the parks? Personally, I'm not in favor of it. I spent some time in them, and so far I see people taking social distancing very seriously here in Long Hill. Maybe it's not the same in other jurisdictions, but I would certainly be in favour of keeping our parks open. And I know I've talked to Lisa Scanlon, and she is too. So is there any thoughts on that from?
So, Mr. Mayor, like you, I've visited Canton Park quite a few times over the last couple of weeks, and I agree. I think the residents have shown a great deal of maturity and respect for what is happening. I did not see any congregations that were inappropriate. I might see a husband and a wife walking their dog. So I would not be in favor of closing the parks to passive use.
Yeah. Thanks, Guy. Vic?
I've been utilizing both Cantor and Hicks Tract over the past 3 weeks. I think our citizens are exhibiting tremendous caution while they're there. Social distancing is in play. No one's playing. There's no group activities on the fields that I've noticed. Every so often I'll see, one person playing basketball by himself. But the only concern I have is that our residents continue to, or in the future, they abide by the tape in the playground, because the playgrounds, I think, could be a potential problem. But aside from that, I would not be in favor of closing the parks. I think they're very necessary at this time.
Okay, thanks, Vic. Matt?
I have I've actually, as you know, I've seen you and Vic on the Hicks track. So I have
we didn't discuss town business.
No,
right?
I ran right by you both, like you were standing still at a bus stop. I don't want to close the parks to passive recreation. I mean, it's nice that the one nice thing about this whole virus thing is seeing a lot more people outside exercising and walking. So I think it's a good thing we stay open.
Yeah. Thank you. So moving on to announcements, I only really have two, and it's just to reiterate what's already been said. For for the latest news and updates on COVID-19, please visit the website, the township website, www.longhillnj.gov, and then click on the COVID-19 page for that. And again, please call the community hotline at 908-647-8000, extension 995, if you are experiencing any problems currently that to do with getting groceries or essential things like medications. So those are my announcements. Anybody else have an announcement?
I do. I just got to pull it up on here. From the Chamber of Commerce, we've been having they have meetings every Friday. It's Michelle Cavan and Gary Giannakis have been great organizing them. And there was a group of 3 high school kids. I don't know their names offhand, but they are putting an article. Alex is doing an article in the paper tomorrow. And what they did was they created a website to help the local businesses and restaurants. I don't know the address, but I'll post it on my Facebook page and send it to the town to post if they want. I know the chamber will post it, but basically it's a website. You can click on it. It'll tell you what restaurants are open and whether they deliver or not. So at least, because I know a lot of people ask, hey, is this open? Is that open? And they also have a site for regular businesses, but they haven't updated that yet. They're more concentrating on the restaurants now. So at least now residents have a place to go and they can look and see if a restaurant is open, they deliver, or it's pickup, which would be great for the locals.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Are those local?
I believe they're all from Long Hill. All 3
Wow.
kids from Long Hill. They said their name last week on the call. I don't remember, but Alex is doing a whole article about them tomorrow. So take a look at the article and like it on social media and give these kids some credit. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. That really is a great help. Vic, any announcements?
I have no announcements, but I would like to add in, if you are an owner of a restaurant or in the food service industry, please make sure that you maintain the CDC guidelines. If you have a mask, wear it. Don't touch your face and continuously wash your hands. I'm not saying people aren't, but I think it's important that everybody, especially when you're handling food, that you remember those rules.
Okay, thanks, Vic. Guy?
No, I want to go back to what we were saying. I want to commend the residents of Long Hill Township because each day I drive around, they are acting in an incredibly responsible manner. And I think we owe the residents of Long Hill Township a shout out. I have not seen, and I go out every day, just drive around to be nosy, I suppose. And the residents are wonderful. And we should thank them as well. They make our job a lot easier.
Yep. Thanks, Guy. You make that's absolutely. I echo everything you said. As I kind of walk around, I really see everybody, most people taking this extremely seriously, and also, the one thing I really like is that people are much more friendly whenever we always get hello and how are things going, even whenever it's somebody that you're seeing for the first time. So it really is a good feeling to be out and about, seeing what you're seeing, and also just the friendliness that people are exhibiting. It's a great thing.
Real quick, I think I might have come across like Mustache Pete with my comment about if you're in the food service industry. I do want to say thank you to everybody that is in the food and service industry for their bravery and coming to work every day. That's certainly much appreciated.
Okay, thanks, Vic. And with that, I'll open the meeting to the public for remarks and statements pertaining to any matter, except the ones that we've already experienced in the chat room.
Yeah, Mayor, I know the Deputy Freehold Director Shaw would like to speak, so I'm unmuting him. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, hi. Good evening. Yeah, just my wife thinks I'm nuts. I learned that I can drop in on, I've got 39 communities in Morris County, and we only usually see some of the community meetings during reorg time, but I actually dropped into my own town because there was an issue I wanted to chime in on, and said, "Wow, I can go around to every town in the county pretty efficiently." So I've decided to try to do that. I think you're the fourth community, and you shouldn't feel bad. Everybody, every meeting, not every meeting, but 3 meetings I've been on, they've been bombed by Zoom. So somehow or other, that's got to be rectified. But I really just wanted to say thank you. It's really very extraordinary circumstances that we're dealing with in the county, and it's all of you local officials and everybody that works on behalf of your town that are helping the citizens of Morris County get through this. And I want to just also reiterate that the county is here. We are functioning with a very limited staff. I know you've been on the mayor's calls that we've had to update you what the county efforts are. Some of our biggest issues are, getting the meals to serve over 2,000 clients in a typical year, 360,000 meals. Our veterans, we assist over 2,000 veterans in the county. That's all still happening, just a lot differently than it has in the past. You talked about the testing site. The sheriff has been great helping us with that. So I really just want to, on behalf of the freeholders, thank all of you for what you're doing and your local emergency services folks, and to reiterate that the county is here to help out if there's anything you need. I think we're very responsive to that. And thank you. Have a happy Passover and a happy Easter.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was a very nice surprise to see you pop up, and I appreciate you joining our meeting tonight.
And if you have any questions, I try to answer them too. County questions.
Yeah, but and just a thanks to you for everything that you do at the county level. It is very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thanks.
Okay,
So-
Mayor. Gary Pratt would like to speak.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Pratt.
All right, thank you. I first want to say thank you for making this meeting available on Zoom. Nancy, I don't envy you your task, but I think you've done a great job and think it's great. My concern with the suggestion about YouTube, with YouTube, we would not have the ability to do this public comment. So
You would, if I could interrupt you for 1 second, you'd have the ability to call in by phone, because we have a number, we posted a number. It actually should be up there. I think it should be on YouTube right now. There's a phone number to call into the Zoom call. So you would
right, but if you didn't use, what I meant was, I thought you meant you wouldn't be using Zoom, just using YouTube. So
I mean, we have to discuss this, but I think that it's a really good suggestion. I think I might have it under control now that I figured out how to stop chat and how to stop people from sharing their screen. But I really have no way of knowing who's signing in and going to do something on their video. So I think it's a really good suggestion that this person made, that only the 5 committee people, the attorney, the clerk, and I would be on Zoom, and then everybody else would watch on YouTube. And then in order to make public comment, they would call in, and I would read their last 4 digits of their phone number and unmute them. And if they had a question, they could ask the question then. I mean, I think that's really the only way to do it to avoid this. So you'd still have the opportunity for public comment.
okay, we've other organizations I'm involved with have been using Zoom and using it successfully, and you may find that the people on your communications committee might be able to, do some. I've seen articles about Zoom bombing and the different settings that you can use and things like that. So you may be able to get it to the point where it's not a problem. But yes, as long as there's a way to call in for the public comment piece, that'll work.
Now that I think about it, there is a way where I can have people have no video. So
Okay.
I can stop the chat I can stop the screen sharing, and there is a way where I could have no video for
There
the
you go.
participants. I think maybe I could have the video for the township committee. So you're right. We'll look into that for the next meeting.
Okay, great. But again, I really appreciate it. I think this is great that you're making these meetings available to folks. I want to say thank you for the COVID-19 hotline. My wife and I are high risk and self-quarantining. And, you know, as soon as the information about the hotline came out, we called, and we have we also don't drive. So we do have a volunteer who's doing shopping for us, which is great. And I also appreciate the PSAs being put out. Mayor Ray, whenever I hear your call, it's reassuring, and you know, pretty straightforward, and that's much appreciated as well. Let's see. So again, very grateful for the volunteers in town that have stepped up. Two concerns I have. One is that I've been seeing on Facebook the problems with gloves being thrown away in the ShopRite parking lot, and so I'm hoping that perhaps the town can, or the police department, or whoever can do something about that. And the other thing that I've been hearing about is there have been some places where groups of children are, you know, have been congregating. So I'm sure that you know more than I do, because I haven't been out of the house in 30 days. But you know, I have seen these reports on Facebook. But last thing I want to say is thank you all for the work you're doing. This, you know, this isn't easy for anybody, and it's very easy for us to, you know, be concerned about ourselves. But I appreciate that, you know, all of you are doing what you do for the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary. That's thank you very much for your kind words. They're very much appreciated by everybody here. You know, in just regard to the two concerns, you know, we're certainly, the police department are doing their best to address them, especially you know, I think some of the groups of children that have been in the parks. Generally, I mean, I saw them around some of the schools here in Millington, but we have closed those playgrounds off, so they know now that they shouldn't be there. And I know, talking to Chief Naga, that he has increased his patrols going through these places, just to make sure that if he sees, you know, groups of children, that the officers can explain to them why they shouldn't be congregating, and split them up. So, Nancy, anybody else?
No, I just do have to unmute that one person who's calling in. Your phone number ends in 8629. If you'd like to make a comment, I'm going to unmute you. You can go ahead. Nope, I guess nothing.
Okay.
No, there's nobody else.
All right. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and to go back there, to go into executive session.
Wait.
Oh.
The chief would like to speak.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Chief Naga.
Good evening, Mayor and committee members and residents of Long Hill Township. A couple things that popped up on the police radar that we were asked to address either this evening or throughout the week. As far as the Zoom bombing is concerned, it's clear to the general public that the CEO from Zoom has come out and said they have some obvious security issues, as we witnessed this evening. There is a probe by the FTC, and there's also an ongoing FBI investigation that we could surely forward that to. I think that would be the more capable hands in tracing IPs and trying to figure out who was behind tonight's activities. So we could definitely take an initial report and send it over to the FBI field office that's heading up this investigation on Zoom. So that we can address. The other thing, I just want to be clear that the public service announcement that was put out today is not it's not misunderstood. Clearly, it is very troubling for me to restrict the police department or the police officers from engaging the community. But ultimately, the only thing that is working and that we are told is going to work is this, social distancing aspect. And to expose the officers even to each other, we've taken measures to minimize that. And to hold events where we're telling the public to minimize essential travel, and I'm cautious to celebrate and come down the streets with sirens when we may have people who are either elderly or sick, and out of respect for them as well, there will be a time to celebrate, and I do hope that this town throws a well-deserved party when this is over, but. Ultimately, out of respect for all our residents and everything else that's going on, there will be a time to celebrate, and I hope it comes sooner than later. And I want you to know that it breaks my heart personally, because this has been kind of the platform that I ran on with community policing. So I just want people to understand I'm not the Grinch of Easter or none of that, but I think you're going to see that you're going to probably have guests from surrounding towns. And while I do have the utmost respect for our residents, we are going to get visitors for whatever events you decide to have during this time period, and we can't really restrict it, or we open up the potential for exposure or contamination, right? If you have surrounding towns coming in, if they know we have an Easter bunny in town, and you start to get that influx of traffic, it is going to create a problem. While I want to support community policing events and community events, I just want you to be cognizant of that, because my feeling is a lot of people have been cooped up and they're going to come out to see the events that we hold in town. So we will do our best to manage it for you, but I want you to be aware that I'm not anti community events. We will do what we can to help out this community every chance we get, and we're in this together, and we will get through it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So Nancy, if there's no one else, I will.
Before we adjourn,
Yes.
Aziz Pesach for all members of the Jewish faith.
Thanks, Vic.
Well done, Vic.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and go into executive session.
Can we have a motion to approve resolution 20-136?
I see a hand up, Mayor.
It's Gary Giannakis.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Okay.
Hold on. There's no way to unmute him. Gary, can you unmute yourself?
I think he is unmuted.
Well, if you look next to his name, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's no, I've done mute everybody in order to unmute him. I guess
There's no mic under him.
No, there's no mic by him.
Gary, if you're listening, go under your home screen on the bottom left-hand corner. If there's a little microphone, does it say connect to audio?
You have to connect to the audio first. I mean, I'll try unmuting everybody, see if it works. Gary, try talking now. Gary, say something.
He's connecting to the audio.
Connecting audio.
Now he shows up as muted.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, now you should be good. trying.
Okay, how's that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so just a little bit like
Hold
what
on.
Chief Naga was talking about, and you guys talked a little bit about keeping the parks open and stuff.
Okay, now
You can hear
you
me?
can be good.
Okay, I think I see some video delay. So a little bit about what Chief Naga was talking about, and you guys also talked about the parks. You know, some townships are having more issues with keeping people social distancing. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So just a little bit like what Chief Naga was talking about, and you guys talked. There's a huge delay. Parks open and stuff.
There's a minute delay. If you could turn down your sound on your YouTube.
I see some video delay. So a little bit about what Chief Naga was talking about, and you guys also talked about the parks. You know, some townships are having more issues with keeping people social distancing. Okay, so just a little bit like what Chief Naga was talking about, and you guys talked. There's a huge delay.
There's a minute delay. If you could turn down your sound on your YouTube.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning then. If people start coming into the town and it's not necessarily a social event, how are you going to control that?
So if it's not necessarily a social event, could you?
Right. If it's okay, so I'll start from the beginning then. If people start coming into the town and it's not necessarily a social event, how are you going to control that?
Whenever you say it's not necessarily a social event, I don't know what you mean, Gary. Could you?
If it's, I guess I mean an overcrowding of the parks potentially.
Well, I mean, I think that's one of those things that we'll, if it happens, we'll deal with it when and if it does. But as you know, from the discussion that we had at the moment, the parks are being used. They're being used by residents and people who are observing all the practices of social distancing.
Potentially.
And so we'll deal with it when and if it happens. When and if it does. But
okay, this delay thing is really weird. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Gary. The parks are being used. They're being used by.
Mayor.
Yes.
If you'd like, Megan, if you can give out the phone number, because I don't know if it's on the YouTube display or not, but if you want us to give out the number if people wanted to call in, if they're watching on YouTube. Megan, do you have that number?
It is 1-253-215-8782. The meeting ID is 492-542-868. And you will need the password, which is 023294.
Okay.
There's a minute delay, so you might want to give it a minute.
Okay.
Is Chief Naga trying to talk again? It looks like his hand is raised.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Megan, I think my hand was just stuck up there.
Sorry.
So we have a bunch of people who want to come in the meeting, but they're not calling. They're obviously not here for questions, so I'm not going to let them in.
Okay, very good. So
Doesn't look like we have anybody.
So if we move on while we're waiting before we adjourn, we have 20-136, right, Megan, to move in order to go into executive session.
Correct.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. any onslaught of callers, Nancy?
No.
Hey, can I do a roll call for that or resolution, Mayor?
Yes, please.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Ray.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if we don't see any callers, which we don't, right, Nancy?
Correct.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and go into exec, and we won't be coming back out of it. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you very much for participating to everybody and everybody to participating in today's meeting. So Nancy, we'll shut down.
I'm going to remove the other people from the meeting. If they don't remove themselves.
Okay, so we just stay on.
Yeah, just give me a minute.